there's a lot of money moving onto the internet. You know, brand advertisers want to talk to you, right? But what are they going to show you? Are they going to show you a static advertisement that you're going to ignore anyways? Or are they going to put something in there that actually gets you to click and engage with the advertisement? Well, Flite is showing me a new style of advertisement that's really innovative, and we're going to see that right now. Who are you?
My name is Will Price. I'm the CEO of Flite. I've been here 3.5 years. And prior to Flite, I was a venture capitalist for 6 years. I was a partner at Humber Winblad, where we first met. And Humber Winblad and Sequoia were investors in the company, and I joined as the CEO 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, that's my previous life. I met you back then.
Exactly.
Because when I worked at a magazine, Humber Winblad invested in us. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What is Flite?
Okay. Flite, we like to call what we do cloud-based advertising. And the market we play in is display advertising. So display advertising is a 17-year-old technology, and it's really asked marketers to try to tell their brand story with 3 attributes: the right image, the right tagline, and the right call to action button. Our perspective is the internet over the last 17 years has gotten so rich. I mean, there's APIs, there's social marketing, there's video. And what we're trying to do is use the cloud to bring the full power of today's internet to bear directly in an ad unit. So when a brand tells a story, it can tell a story with a pollen count, movie showtime lookups, dealers, social connections. And it's what the IAB is talking about, is this major transition of display. They talk about bringing sight, sound, and motion to bear directly in the ad unit. And so Flite allows brands to tell stories with the full palette of assets that they produce, whether it's lead gen forms, videos, white papers, and make ads that are transformative in terms of the degree of engagement that they can deliver.
Well, and this is really important because, you know, I study eye track research, and I talk to a lot of people who do this, and we're ignoring all the color around the content in the page. You know, if you visit TechCrunch, for instance, you're going to read the content right in the middle, and you're going to ignore all the anything that looks colorful.
Exactly.
You're going to ignore it because your eye has been trained that that's an ad, and it's a lame ad. You click on it, it doesn't do anything.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And banner blindness is a common problem in the industry today. And so when you do advertising today, and display, by the way, is 24% of total ad spend online. So you're talking about a medium that's massive, and yet everyone is kind of jaded and cynical about it, whether you're a marketer or a publisher who's trying to make money from them, or certainly a user who's ignoring them. So the concept is can we improve storytelling, bring back the power of engagement in a world where today, when you produce a display ad, you are leaving behind so much of the richness of today's web, and people expect so much more. In fact, a friend of mine talks about it this way. He says, look, we really focus today on memes, on trending topics, and on engagement on video and social underpinnings, and yet when people produce display ads, they're trying to really, as I said before, pick from static assets and then lock it in into an image and then send that out and expect people to see that as interesting. It's just not happening. So
the other thing is that if I had a media property, I'm lucky. I have one advertiser, and that's Rackspace. We work full time for Rackspace, so I don't take ads. But all my friends who have to live on advertising, they don't want you to take them off the site, right? Because it's not helping their whole business model, and now you left and you might not come back.
There's 2 things that publishers are really facing today. The nature of ads today, as you said, click through to somewhere else and you lose a page view, you lose a visitor. And the second thing is that traditionally publishers sold on an audience basis. Hey, I've got a great audience of tech people, I've got a great audience of sports enthusiasts. And they would take traditional banners against that audience. Well, what happened with ad networks and demand side platforms is they've been able to synthetically recreate the audience irrespective of a single domain. So if you want to buy golfers now, or sports enthusiasts, or people looking for servers, you can go to an ad network, you can go to a demand-side platform like AppNexus or Turn and buy that exact same audience that the publisher was offering you, and the creative that was going to run on the publisher, the display ad, is probably the same. So what we allow our publisher partners to do is define unique ad products that allow them to move their business model from selling media to selling media plus some unique experience on that property that drives that higher value, that higher engagement. So our customers are CBS and LinkedIn, IDG, Bloomberg, MSN, and others who are recognizing that for publishers today to truly differentiate to the media planner, it's not enough to say I've got this audience, because audiences are kind of like table stakes. It's audience plus a really unique capability for that brand. And what we're offering the publishers is to bring the best of that brand presence directly into the publisher's context. Yeah. Where, like to your point, it's not about leaving, it's about engaging directly right there on page.
You showed me a CIO magazine page that has this really nice Oracle experience, I would call it. It's not even a full ad, that had content, had some white papers, and all by clicking in the ad, you get all that without forcing me to go off somewhere else and be now on an Oracle page.
Yeah. So IDG is a great customer of ours, and they came up with this concept with us called the nano site. So we're all familiar with the concept of a microsite or a landing page. That's a marketing-specific page where you're going to introduce a new product. And you're going to go out and buy banner ads on the web to drive people from the banner to the landing page. And the landing page is where you're going to tell the client about why you want to buy. It's an information-rich site. It's going to have videos on it. It may have research, to your point, like a white paper. Maybe it's got some polls, some lead gen forms to say, hey, contact me. And what we've done with the nano site is basically said, let's take all those great interactive assets on that page, and I like to talk about it this way, like pick up that page, physically pretend you're holding it, and just shake it. And all the stuff that you want the user to engage with just flows directly into an ad unit, and then you can serve that across the web and let them, in context of where they are on CIO Magazine and PC World and Mac World and Info World, let them experience your product and those rich brand, informationally rich content to have them then say, you know what, this is interesting, I'm going to now reach out or learn more. And so it's a much more effective way to do marketing. And the other problem with landing pages is that once they're built, no one ever goes to them. Yeah. So then you have to actually go out and buy more media to drive people to the landing page. And so you solve two problems. One, you're asking people to stay in context of where they are and they can learn and engage with your product. And you're not creating that traffic problem you create for yourself when you build a special purpose marketing site. You're just serving out that content. And so instead of bringing the people to the content, you're bringing the content to the people. It's a pretty simple concept, but it's pretty powerful.
And I bet you get all sorts of stats on whether people engaged or clicked or read or scrolled.
That's a great question. So there's two metrics that the banner ad industry uses today. It's how many times was that ad served and how many clicks did we get? What was the click-through rate? Yeah. But when you change an ad from being a static banner to being a miniature web page with video and lead gen forms and polls, those two metrics don't really tell you the story. You really want to know how long do people spend in that unit? Did they navigate across the various navigation options that they have? Did they watch video? If so, for how long? Did they sign up for a lead gen form? Did they read a white paper? Did they tweet it? And so we aspire to give you like almost amateur class web analytics that allow the marketer to say, wow, this ad really did engage. And not only was it engaging, it turned out that the video component was most interesting, or you know what, the white papers really worked and they were downloaded X number of times. And so the metrics even the industry is thinking about, click-through rate, really become antiquated, and it's really more about, to your point about your opening, it's about engagement. Yeah. Did this ad engage? So we deliver that as well.
And does it drive sales right in the ad unit? For instance, you showed me a movie trailer ad unit.
Yep.
And you watch the movie trailer, it's really cool, and then up pops a questionnaire, you know, where do you live?
Exactly.
And if you're really cool, you can even find that out, right?
Yeah.
And then you show me movie times.
Exactly. So the traditional trailer today is like, here's the trailer for the movie, and then it ends. What we're trying to do is say, here's the trailer, oh, and by the way, here's the movie showtimes in your neighborhood. And then, the showtime's at 7:10, and you can text that to somebody, tweet it to somebody. You can go right to Fandango and buy that ticket. So you're exactly right. Bringing that merchandising retail experience directly to the point of the impression. And I think that it's certainly going to be the case we see in the next year where transactions in ad units become of standard behavior for people.
Yeah, and for instance, if I talked about a Dyson fan, they don't call them fans, they call them air moving machines or something crazy.
Right.
But you put a nice ad in there, you can link off to Amazon or link directly to a fulfillment house, and now you can get a sale right from the ad unit without taking me off to Amazon.com or whatnot.
And you can find things about what inventory availability, where the nearest dealer is, what the price is right now. And really the way to think about these ads is when they load, in the Rackspace understands as well, it's going to call back to the cloud, and the cloud can then have n number of integration points. So you can integrate into a movie lookup database, car dealer availability, and in this case Amazon pricing and availability. And so as the brand thinks about telling its brand story and then thinking through the consumer's options, to buy, to learn more, to ask for a sales contact, you can then connect in your back-end systems directly into the ad units. And so they're essentially moved from static files to programmed applications, programmed by back-end systems of your choice. Yeah. And if you're trying to drive a transaction, certainly it would be retail transactions. If you're trying to drive a lead to an inside sales team, it would be tying in your Salesforce system. So it really opens the imagination of what's possible now.
Yeah. How do you create these ads? Is it really hard to create? Because you know the ad industry, they're a little lazy, and they like to. That's why they always have done those great pictures and nothing else. Right?
Exactly.
So it's easy to do a picture.
Well, I like to talk about it this way. Like the traditional marketing approach is to get to that platonic form of perfect creative. Hey, does this image really capture our brand message? And then it's kind of this big bang bet on trying to get that message and story, like, oh, this is a great campaign. And I've just finished reading this book by Peter Sims, Little Bets, which is a great book. And it really says, look, the key to creativity and innovation is lots of little experiments, and then being able to trust yourself when you see the ones that are working or not. So marketing, if you think about it, acts in exactly the opposite fashion. It designs these perfect executions and then commits all its resources to getting in the market. So what we're trying to encourage people to think about is think about being able to program display marketing as easily as you can program your Twitter or your Facebook account, and slowly letting your audience get information on a daily basis that's relevant to their interest. And so it becomes really, the creative really becomes a form of communication, and it's really about the content, whether it's editorial or APIs that you want to push, as opposed to an image or some static thing. It's about really establishing this pipe of communication interaction.
That's really interesting. Let's say I was at Movie House. Can I do A/B tests and change the wording on the ad and
absolutely
and change it on 10% get this ad and 90% get this ad, and then let's look at the click-through rates.
There's some crazy stuff that's possible. The first is just simply changing the creative. So today, say for example, we have 10 trailers for a movie that's coming out, and we're J.J. Abrams, and we want to put a new trailer in the market every day. And we're going to run those on 50 different publishers. So today, to change a piece of creative means you have to then recompile the file, generate the new ad tags, and distribute the ad tags again. It's almost like if you're writing a Word doc and you have a revision, you have to save the new version and then distribute the original file back out to all the recipients. Now think of it as a Google Doc where you just edit the doc and everyone just gets the automatic updates. It versions and then you see the new version. Yep. So another reason we pick cloud for our description of what we do is that when you change an ad and you hit publish, it automatically updates. So now you can have the brand manager or the agency for this movie say, okay, we got this ad out there with the trailer. Now I want to go in this, our web-based editor kind of looks like, if you can use Gmail, you can use it. Let's take that trailer out, put this new one in, hit a button, that's going to version the ad from version 1 to 1.1, and immediately as soon as you hit publish, all the ad tags that are out in the field get updated automatically. So
can I do the A/B test though?
Yes.
So I can test that new one with 10%, make sure it actually works as good as my old one?
Exactly. So then you can basically start saying, okay, well I think I have 5 ideas of what may work. I'm going to run them and say 20% are going to get ad A, 20% will get ad B. And then you can look at the analytics, to your point, the metrics that we have, and say, you know what, version A is just not getting the same as, I'm going to kill version A. Yeah. So now there's just going to be 4 ads running, and then you can slowly just start eliminating the ones that aren't working. So it really allows the brand to have, to be able to publish content to ads as easily as they can to Facebook, to use metrics to do those little bets. Are these little bets working? Are they engaging? And if not, stop doing it, you know?
What else are you seeing happen in the ad world? I mean, I know tablets are becoming really important in my life. I'm playing a lot with Flipboard and Zeit and a whole bunch of different apps. The BBC has apps. I mean, everybody has an app for the
I think there's a fundamental change that's happening. I think it used to be that when you did marketing, you would pick from the same 250 ComScore sites and you would just go buy those sites. It was very publisher-centric audience buying. What's happened now is that in the last 2 or 3 years, the ad industry has invested literally hundreds of millions of dollars in moving to an audience-centric model of being able to buy a user. So companies like BlueKai and Context Web and AppNexus and Turn, they go, hey, listen, it's not a given that because you're on cars.com, you're a car buyer. You may not be. But if you visit like 9 car sites in a week, it probably means that you're an in-market car buyer. Yeah. So then they're now allowing the brand to target you irrespective of where you are. You could be on Yahoo Mail and you get a car ad. Yeah. So the first fundamental shift is that it's very efficient to buy a targeted audience And that's why the publishers are struggling with differentiation, because they're still trying to sell that publisher-centric approach.
Yeah.
And the brands are saying, well, I really want an audience-centric approach. It's a very different model. Yeah. So now I think the next phase of the ad world is that they've really driven a lot of efficiency around audience purchase. But the creative that they're serving in either of those two worlds, the publisher-centric model and then the audience-centric model, is still the traditional banner. Yeah. So 91 out of 100 banners are still the same, even though we've had this massive innovation in the ability to find the audience we want. So I think what we're seeing and why Google is talking about display becoming a $200 billion market is they're now going to focus on this user centricity. All right, I know the user, I know where they are. Now let's really connect with that user and use the power of the internet to make that a much more meaningful experience for them. So Neil Mohan, who's the head of Google advertising, got up at the IAB and he said, hey, the good news is this industry can be huge. The bad news is we have a lot of work to do on making it an industry, to your point about banners being ignored, and that people actually care about and want to use. So I think that's really a huge change. And then the second thing is that social media taught brands the power of this direct relationship. Like if you're Coke and you have 23 million followers on Facebook, you really, in some sense, have created your own media relationship, right? And now it's about, hey, this isn't so hard. Like I want to take more power in being able to program my daily messages to my audience. And companies like Buddy Media and Vitru and Facebook and Twitter have shown brands that it's really powerful to be enabled to do that. Yeah. And it used to be kind of a black box and a black science. Like, gee, it sounds like buying media is really hard, and it sounds like doing creative is really hard. I better, depend on a lot of third parties for that. But then Facebook's kind of show them, like, no, you can build this massively scalable communication, and the tooling is really simple. You want to put a video out, a poll out, it's not hard. And so another thing I'm seeing, which is fascinating, is that brands are wanting empowerment and looking for like what we used to call Web 2.0 tools, those simple interfaces to then execute on the brand promise. And so what I think about is like brands learn how to do email marketing. They learn how to do search engine marketing. They learn how to do marketing automation through like Marketo and Eloqua. They used Omniture. They got comfortable using Omniture for web analytics. I believe personally that brands are going to start being very comfortable programming advertising the way they program Facebook. And they're looking for that empowering technology stack to make that possible.
Oh, absolutely. Do you see the number of ads on a page changing due these new engaging technologies?
Yeah, in fact, the other thing that Neil Mohan said is that I really believe this to be true too. He said the industry's going to go from 20 to 200, but impressions are going to go down by 25%. So how do you have this massive growth in the total spend and impressions go down? It means there has to be fewer ads of higher quality. And AOL is also a leader in this. So
you can think of it like the physical Wired magazine, right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of really beautiful ads, but they're one page.
Exactly.
There's not 50 ads on that page.
It's kind of like looking at the Yellow Pages, right? There's that premium plumber who gets the full page, and then there's like 100 plumbers on the next page. And what Tim Armstrong's doing at AOL with Project Devil is fewer, higher quality ads and in creating a premium brand experience, where the brand can bring videos and photos and all those brand assets to tell a better story. So I think what we're seeing now is this trend towards bigger, fewer. In fact, one of the IAB Rising Star units is something like a 300 by 3000. It's this giant thing that just scrolls forever. And that's an extreme example, but I think you're exactly right. Fewer ads of higher quality, maybe of larger size, but of better function.
Yeah. Well, cool. Where do we learn more about you guys?
Well, we're at Flite.com. Yeah. We're on Facebook.com/Flite, Twitter.com/Flite, and we'd love to connect with anybody and really appreciate Rackspace. And I want to say a big shout out to Lou Mormon, who's my high school buddy from Hotchkiss.
You went to high school with him?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any dirt on him?
Yeah. So Lou, I just want to let you know that they've been looking for dirt, and I tried my best, but all I could say was, you know what, he's a damn good guy.
Gotta go get you right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, cool. Are you on Twitter too?
Yeah, Twitter.com/PriceW, and I have a blog I've written for a lot of years, willprice.blogspot.com.
Very cool.
So thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.